Pelvic Posse, and welcome to the Empower Your Pelvis podcast. Hey, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Empower Your Pelvis podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Amanda Fisher, pelvic floor physical therapist, mom of three. And this week, well, I've been denied yet another sponsorship into our youth community soccer league. So we're going to talk about it because I originally wanted to talk about a different topic for this week's episode, but kind of irked me a little bit. And I kind of want to get an idea of what you guys are feeling as well. So a little background, okay? My kids, I have three boys, three C-sections, lots of pelvic floor issues. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing today. However, I'm an athlete. My husband's an athlete. Most of our kids are athletes. I say most because my 5-year-old last year when he was 4 didn't really want to play soccer. That's another story. We'll get down to it in a little bit. But my kids want to play sports. They're very active. My 9 and 7-year-old are currently in basketball. They're finishing up their season. They're in tournaments. It's amazing. During spring, they are playing soccer, and the oldest has wanted to do flag football. Okay. Outside of that, we've also got baseball season coming up. Now, youth soccer. You go out there on a Saturday morning, y'all, out in Lee Summit, and I'm sure this is other places too. I've seen the Kansas turf complexes out at Shields. It's close to Deanna Rose area. They're big. They've got lots of people out there. Okay. Out in Lee Summit for the Sporting of Lee Summit Community League, you've got kids. Who's with kids? Parents. Who majority makes the call on where kids are going to go for health issues? Parents, usually the mom, if they're the ones that's, we're the parents in the relationship. So moms might be doing the laundry more often, or a parent. Besides the kid, it's usually a parent. So my thought was, shoot, in our office, we're seeing a ton of pelvic floor issues, all the way down to 4 and 5-year-olds that are maybe trying to not be wetting their pants during the day or wanting to have bowel movements. We work with local OTs in the area to help that out. All the way up, let's go there, into middle school age, high school age girls that maybe are dealing with giggle incontinence or having trouble inserting a tampon. We're your people. We're helping them figure out how to navigate that. Maybe they're also peeing their pants while kicking a soccer ball, okay? We deal with the kids that have tailbone pain. Maybe they have landed hard on, what were those things called? Teeter-totters back in the day, or they got kicked by another kid in their butt at practice or at recess. Tailbone pain, we're their people. Okay. Moving into high school, same thing. I think I just said high school, but say high schoolers are going on to college. Again, we've got collegiate athletes that are still leaking with activity, cheer, gymnastics, throwing a baseball, kicking a soccer ball, trouble inserting a tampons still, but they're going off to collegiate sports and they need to know how to do so. We're helping them out. If they're sexually active and having pain with intercourse, we are their people, teaching them how to have pain-free intercourse or insertion of anything. Okay. Moving on. Now we're in the 20s. All the same thing, guys. And then if they're in their prenatal, they're pregnant, or they're postpartum, we're walking them through those stages and how to navigate their pelvic floor muscles, because your pelvic floor muscles do a lot, guys, all the way out through your lifespan. Okay. I think I had mentioned on social media, like we treat kids all the way to 101-year-old in our clinic, male and female, pelvic floors of all shapes and sizes. All different issues. Okay. So I'm a mom of three boys, and I want to sponsor my kids' soccer team. I don't know if this is season 5 or season 6 that I've asked to do this. So going back to the soccer league, on the front t-shirt are logos, and they ask local businesses in the town, do you want to sponsorship your kids' team as you're signing up to play soccer? Absolutely, I do. First season I sign up, they're like, yeah, send us your logo, send us your business name. We're getting ready to print t-shirts. I do so. I get an email back shortly. Oh, just kidding. T-shirts have gone through. We can't accept the sponsorship. I'm like, okay. Well, when we got, they were already sponsored by another team. It's basically how the email led. When we got to that season, the team sponsor, that was for my son's team. I only had one kid playing at that time. Oh, I'm sorry, for our middle kiddo, who was 5 at the time. So this would have been fall league, I guess, was a local business that if your team does not get sponsored, they will sponsor you. It's like a free sponsorship. Okay. So I was a little bummed when we got to the season, but didn't question it. Spring season comes along. What happens? I ask, can I sponsor? And they're like, no, your content, like your business, is not what we want in our community. Nothing. Okay. That's spring. Fall league. Similar situation, a few emails back and forth. That's it. Spring, same thing. Last spring is really when I got the like, hey, so this is probably the third or fourth time of me asking if I can sponsor my kids' league, that they're like, hey, yo, your business is too provocative. The name itself, like if you can send us your logo, something different than your logo because it's too provocative, it's a triangle. Guys, my logo is a triangle with Empower Your Pelvis swirled through it. Then give us a different name. If I give you my name is not the brand. Amanda Fisher is not the brand. Empower Your Pelvis is the brand. People know Empower Your Pelvis. They know to come for their pelvic floor issues, the pelvic floor needs. So I was like, no, I cannot sponsor it under Amanda Fisher. That makes zero sense. So here, you know what? Why don't we just put the words Empower Your Pelvis, take it out of the logo, just put the words on the shirt if the logo is provocative, and let's see what happens. And crickets, nothing. Next season, again, sorry, we just can't have your sponsorship. Guys, I really think they don't need any money in this soccer league is how it's feeling. This season, I wrote, you know what? Why not? New season. Let's see what's happening. And they're like, hold up. We're pretty sure we've told you in the past that your business is not welcome in our league. Okay. I got it, but I need you to clarify with me. Write an email back. I need you to clarify that. Is that forever? Because this is a new season. Other seasons I've asked, you've said no. So new season, this is spring 2023. I thought I'd try. And this is why. Because Dick's, as in Dick's Sporting Goods, was a sponsor for one of our kids' team shirts. Actually, I think both of our kids' leagues. Dick's is huge on the front shirt of my kids' t-shirt that I'm washing for soccer. Okay. And then in very small fine print, it is Sporting Goods. There are also local companies that have breweries. Okay. So a brewery is how I feel might be appropriate for our kids to wear on their shirts because they're not 21. My kid's 5, my kid's 7. Just a thought. So I did a little video last year and I asked my kids, last year they were 8 and 6-year-old boys. Y'all, tell me what a pelvis is. And they're like, Mom, a pelvis helps you sit. Correct. It does. It helps keep you out for your posture. What else does a pelvis do? A pelvis helps you kick a ball. You're right. Your pelvic floor does help you do that. Your pelvis does. What else does it do? Your pelvis helps you ride a bike. Sure, heck it does. What else does it do? Your pelvis helps you, and Landon, my sweet soul, who I just want to sponsor his team, says connect belts. Your pelvis helps you connect belts. Well, by golly, I think it does too. You wrap a belt around it, you connect it, and it holds your pants up. And I died laughing. And he's not wrong, okay? This year, I asked him the same question because I'm like, you know what? I'm going to ask to see if we can sponsor again because I just want to support the local community. I want to get our brand out because we are honestly treating multiple people who are out there either watching the game or playing on the field. And I want to get exposure for our brand and for pelvic floor issues. That is my whole mission in life, is to normalize pelvic health. So why not by sponsoring our kids' teams? This year I asked him, what's a pelvis do? I get the same answers, except also it helps work with your spine. And he's now 7. And I'm like, you know what? This kid is pretty darn smart. Now, rewind a little bit. My boys grew up through the pandemic probably a little differently than your kids. My kids have learned the correct anatomical language for all body parts. Okay. I did not know how to teach PE during a pandemic while trying to be virtual with pelvic floor patients and my husband being virtual with engineers. So the kids learned PE and during science class, basically the bones and muscles of the body. They also had to sit in I had a kindergartner at the time who would be on virtual calls and be listening to me as I'm talking with patients on pelvic floor issues. They have heard a lot about the pelvis. They have heard a lot about anatomical issues. They've heard what they do and how we can improve it. Some people might think that's poor parenting. I think it's pretty darn good. For instance, because now that they know the correct anatomical words, we were driving back from a basketball tournament this weekend, and in the back seat of the car, one of the little boys that's riding around in the car starts saying vagina, 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 which number one, I'm like, good for that kid. But the way he was saying it, like, good that he knows the anatomical correct language. Proud of his mom for teaching him that. But he was jabbering off penis and vagina, looking for my kids to giggle and laugh. And he didn't get a giggle out of any of them except the 5-year-old who's 5 and just giggled and thought he was funny. And afterwards, after we dropped him off after dinner, I asked the boys, like, why didn't you giggle when so-and-so said those words? And they're like, Mom, it's just the correct language. And he's trying to think that it's funny. And those words aren't funny. It's just what they are. And I'm like, way to go, boys. And I feel like if they had not sat through the pandemic listening to me talk about vagina and vulva and anus and rectum and pelvic floor muscles and 28 different muscles down there. And this is how they work. And they help you pee and poop and all this other great stuff. They may be those kids in the car chattering off vagina and penis, trying to get people to laugh. They may be also the people that feel uncomfortable with the words empower your pelvis. And I've really tried to push empowerment with my business model and with the words empower your pelvis, because I once felt guilty with the issues that I was going through with my own pelvic floor. I developed pain with sex at the age of 21 when everyone else was having orgasmic sex in college or right after college. Okay. I was in grad school. I had never had an orgasm. So I felt very guilty, shamed, broken, told my husband, we were dating at the time, like, you don't have to stay with me. I am truly broken. And I don't think if I could ever be fixed. Everything felt like sharp stabbing knives. I also developed bladder leakage at the age of 21 because I was running about 6 to 7 half marathons a year. I was stressed. I was in grad school, planning a wedding. My parents were going through a divorce. I had an alcoholic father. The list goes on. I was stressed. I had a lot going on, a lot of tension held in my pelvic floor. I basically was told by doctors, just drink wine. It'll fix everything. Or you're having pain. We don't really know what to do. Y'all, this was 2008, 2009. That's what life was. If you had pain with intercourse, if you had bladder leakage and you hadn't had babies yet, you were just looked at as like odd ducklings. And I did not want my patients to feel that when I found out there was help within my own profession, mind you, that within physical therapy, I thought I was going to be sports med. I had things going on, found out there was hope and there was something that could change people so they don't have to feel the same guilt that I was feeling. Empower Your Pelvis was the name I stuck with. And that is what it's been now for 6 years. And the fact that it's now 2023 and we're still having issues with the business name, or let me say pelvis, which is the base of the spine. It holds the hips so you can walk, run, move, be athletic throughout your day to day. It doesn't have to just be on the soccer field, but there's so much to be said about that. So I guess this is more of a rant tonight, just because I'm so frustrated, and I apologize if it's not hitting home for you guys, but I would love comments. Maybe I'm out of my league. Maybe I'm, barking up the wrong tree, that I shouldn't be trying to sponsor my 7-year-old soccer league, but I've been trying since he was 5 when he couldn't even read the word pelvis. Let's remind everybody that too. And we're getting into a different season. I will say the day I sent the sponsorship email to the local soccer league, Sporting Lee Summit, I also sent an email to the local baseball club because we're playing baseball. And I haven't tried to reach out to baseball to see if we could sponsor them. But when you look at the sponsors, a lot of it is physical therapists, chiropractors, or orthopedic surgeons. So we'll see if we get in there. I haven't seen any female-owned companies, honestly, in either sponsorship on either of the kids' teams. Basketball, there wasn't a sponsor for that, so we couldn't. And then there's not a sponsor for the flag football either. So we'll see what happens. But if you guys could comment, let me know your thoughts on this. Like, maybe you agree that kids shouldn't have the word pelvis on their shirt. let me know. I'm really interested to hear, because maybe it bugs me just because I'm, number one, their mom. My husband is an assistant coach for all the kids' teams. Like, we're very supportive. I love giving back to the community. I'm from a small town. The small town that I grew up in, I don't know, like, the small businesses support the teams, and that's just part of the small town feeling. And I still have that really deep rooted in my system. So I don't know. I would just love to hear everybody's thoughts. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for supporting Empower Your Pelvis. Please let me know your thoughts. Please share this with somebody. If you're like, yes, she needs to sponsor something with Empower Your Pelvis, because we also want to help her push normalizing pelvic health. I would love the help. Okay. Thank you all again. Have a wonderful day. Support your pelvis by deep breathing. Breathe into those ribs, let it relax out, and go for a freaking walk. Go for a walk, get some blood flow and circulation down there. Go kick a soccer ball if you want. Enjoy your day. Night, guys. Hey, Pelvic Posse. I want to thank you so much for joining into this week's episode of the Empower Your Pelvis podcast. Can I ask you a couple of favors, please? Number one, can you like and subscribe to this podcast so that you can continue to empower your pelvis forever, so that you will never miss out? Number two, can you leave us a rating and a review telling them how amazing we are and everything that you have learned about your pelvic health? And then number three, if you haven't seen the video version of this podcast, you can go over to youtube.com/C/empower your pelvis for all your visual learners out there. We have all types of great visuals in there for you to not only listen to, but to also watch. Thank you so much again, and make sure to give your pelvis some love. Until next time, peace out, Pelvic Posse.